Have you been told that if you have Hashimoto's, you better stay away from broccoli? Maybe, right? Welcome. I'm Sarah Peternell. I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services in Denver, Colorado, and I'm the creator of a 30-day online program called Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition, I'm a thyroid expert, and I have Hashimoto's. So listen, guys, I have heard all of the reasons why I shouldn't be eating any broccoli, cauliflower, kale, etc. because it's so bad for my thyroid. And you know what? A lot of these people were very well intentioned. My doctor and even other nutritionists, to be honest with you. I've read a lot of books from experts and I've read a lot of research that basically has helped me to kind of work out the differences between what is true and what is not true. So today, I'm going to address the question, if you have Hashimoto's, should you be eating goitrogenic foods? I love that word, goitrogenic. Well, first of all, let's just say that goitrogenic is kind of a big old category of foods, and it isn't a word that describes the type of food at all. It's actually a word that describes the way in which these types of foods interact with your thyroid. Basically, it's coming from the word goiter, right? Which is essentially a thyroid condition based on an overt iodine deficiency. Now, one of the things that we know today is that not all people with Hashimoto's have hypothyroidism because of iodine deficiency. You can learn more about iodine by watching my other video about Hashimoto's and iodine. I'm not going to go into the details of iodine today, but the reason why these foods have been considered goitrogenic is because some of the characteristics of the foods have certain blocking actions that means the thyroid is not able to take up iodine from other sources in the diet as well. So goitrogenic basically just means may cause a goiter. Goiters are actually pretty uncommon as far as a symptom of iodine deficiency, at least in the United States and most of the developing world. Again, I'm not going to go into the specifics about iodine, but one of the things that we know today is that in fact, many people with Hashimoto's actually may have had iodine excess at some point. But also we know that Hashimoto's is an autoimmune illness, meaning that it originates with the immune system and it originates with the gut. So really what we're talking about are kind of two different things between goiters as a result of an iodine deficiency, which may or may not be hypothyroidism. And we're talking about Hashimoto's, which is a disease of the autoimmunity against the thyroid tissue, okay? So goitrogens typically are considered the whole class of cruciferous vegetables. And I feel sad for these vegetables because they didn't deserve this label. They're really wonderful foods and actually can be part of a very healthy diet. Cruciferous vegetables are the types of vegetables that help to increase detoxification. And these foods are some of the ones I've already listed. Broccoli and cauliflower and kale and turnips and cabbage and a bunch of other green leafy vegetables. We can call them the crucifers, the cruciferous. They're really great vegetables and they really help our bodies to detoxify properly. If you have Hashimoto's and you're watching a lot of my videos, you know that detox and Hashimoto's kind of go hand in hand. But goitrogens, foods that may block some of the thyroid absorption of iodine, include a wide variety of other types of foods, not just the cruciferous vegetables. It also includes other foods like, say, bamboo shoots, or what about cassava, which is another root. Also millet, which is a grain. What about peaches, which are a delicious fruit? Pears, and also pine nuts, and also radishes, and also spinach, and also strawberries, and the list goes on, which is why you're hearing me talk about some of my most favorite vegetables, and I love to eat the rainbow of colors in my diet. If I were to eliminate all of those because I have Hashimoto's, I would be left with nothing left to eat. So goitrogens, again, they are a class of foods which may interfere with your body's uptake of iodine and supporting a healthy thyroid. But if you have Hashimoto's, the need for these healthy fresh fruits and vegetables, regardless are really important for their phytonutrient activity, and they're also really important for the ways in which they support healthy detox in your body. And not all goitrogens are created equally. They don't all work based on the same principles. So I want to help to explain some of the ways in which different foods do different things. They have different actions in the body. Okay. So, for example, I'm going to address one goitrogen that I do think you should stay away from, and that is soy. Soy foods, soy products, soybeans, soybean oils, soy isoflavones, soy protein, soy, they contain flavonoids, and this may actually impair your thyroperoxidase activity, meaning that your body's ability to produce healthy tissue and cells within the thyroid that can help to manufacture the necessary hormones for your body. So I'm going to kind of rephrase that. Thyroperoxidase inhibitors are basically endocrine disruptors. And so we know from a lot of research that not just because of the thyroid, but other parts of the endocrine system also do not do that well with soy, unless, of course, you're a postmenopausal woman that doesn't have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism and has low estrogen status. Some phytoestrogenic foods, including small amounts of soy, may be beneficial. But that's not what this video is about today. Today, we're talking about foods' impact on the thyroid, specifically the goitrogenic foods, and what those properties are and why we've been told to stay away from them. So soy, the flavonoids, or the soy isoflavones, impair the thyroid from functioning properly, not just because it can't uptake iodine correctly, but because it actually impairs the production of thyroid hormone manufacturing, okay? So I do believe that you should stay away from soy for this reason. We don't need any endocrine disruptors in our diet, on our skin, or in our environment, especially if we have Hashimoto's. Now, there are a variety of other things that can happen with some of the foods. It's the glucosinolates, the word's kind of tricky, that are in the cruciferous vegetables that I talked about earlier that impairs the iodine uptake to the thyroid. Okay. Some goitrogenic types of foods, including sometimes some of the sea vegetables, which are actually really rich in iodine, can also be goitrogenic in that it inhibits production and normal release of thyroid hormones. So this is, again, kind of in that too little, too much iodine equation. If you've watched my other video, you know that sea vegetables are a great source of iodine and may help support a healthy thyroid if low iodine has been shown through lab testing and working with your healthcare provider that it's something that you need in your diet. But don't just go run out and start taking sea vegetables or supplements made from sea vegetables, because it could also be one of those foods that does interact with negatively your thyroid. Okay, there are some other nutrients that can actually impair our body's ability to work properly with the thyroid. And again, it's a wide variety that we call the goitrogens, but these foods, they have different substances and different actions in the body. So now I'm going to talk about how we can eat some of these foods, the cruciferous and maybe some goitrogenic foods, how we can eat them safely so that they don't really affect the way in which our thyroid works normally. So the first thing I would say is that you would have to eat a boatload of broccoli. I'll keep using that one as my example. You would have to eat a boatload of broccoli for it to really negatively impact your thyroid, which means bushels. Who's going to do that? I mean, I might just take off like a couple little of the florets to add to my salad or to a stir fry or, throw on to a side dish. But I'm never eating handfuls and handfuls of broccoli or any of these other goitrogenic foods because I like to have balance and variety on my plate. Raw foods that can be goitrogenic tend to be the most problematic. But guess what? Mainly because some of those glucosinolates that I mentioned are more active when they're raw. But in addition to that, raw cruciferous vegetables, for example, are harder to digest. So they affect our body because they can also impair proper digestion. So think about like if you eat, a loaded plate full of, say, cauliflower rice, and you get a little gassy and you get a little bloated and you maybe get a little bit of a tummy ache and you might even have some digestive issues on the excretion end of things. Well, having some digestive impairment also impairs our body's ability to digest, absorb, and assimilate the nutrients that we need from all the foods that we ate that day. So when we are having these raw vegetables, we're really not only boosting up the glucosinolates, but we're also putting something in our body that is harder to digest. So there's kind of two factors that play along with this. Cruciferous vegetables, typically, if they are cooked, can be much easier not only for the body to digest, but it helps to reduce some of those actions from the glucosinolates in the body so that they don't really become an issue. And let's face it, most of us like to have a cooked, roasted, steamed vegetable of these natures, of these categories, better than the raw because of some of those digestive issues. Fermented is another great way to consume these types of vegetables because the bacteria, as part of the natural fermentation process, helps to break down some of those glucosinolates and other kind of, the added actions of these foods that may impair the thyroid. So anytime we introduce a bacterium and we give it time, we're basically letting them do some of the digestion for us. They're helping to break these down. So it can actually be better for our body to consume even like a raw fermented, like a kimchi that's made with kale and some cauliflower and some broccoli if it's had some time. Okay, so I really like to do cooking, lightly steaming, lightly braising with maybe a bone broth. Helps to deactivate and break down these iodine-blocking glucosinolates. So I am also wanting to share with you, kind of back on that digestive issue, is that many of us with Hashimoto's have digestive issues. I mean, I have Hashimoto's and celiac disease. And a lot of my clients have Hashimoto's and maybe Crohn's, or Hashimoto's and IBS, Hashimoto's and chronic constipation, Hashimoto's and really bad gas, or other things that maybe don't have specific digestive symptoms, but that are definitely related to the digestive system, like skin issues, maybe some mood or behavior or sleep challenges. Remember that our gut-brain axis is very important for maintaining our overall health and well-being, as well as our mental health. So if we have compromised gut stuff going on as part of the picture of autoimmunity, well, sometimes the wrong kinds of foods, we can become intolerant to them because of leaky gut, because of pathogens. I'd like to just name a few. Many of my clients are dealing with SIBO, right? Small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. This is no fun. Everything you eat, you feel like you're blowing up like a balloon, or you're 5 months pregnant, or you've got terrible gas and your family's making fun of you, and you just feel awful and you want to lay down after every meal. So with SIBO, or small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, it's probably a good idea to stay away from some of these foods that are harder to digest. But that doesn't just include the cruciferous or the goitrogenic foods. It includes really any food that you know that you're reacting to. So strongly consider that if you are eating certain foods and you think it's affecting your thyroid, ask first, is it affecting my digestion, my ability to properly digest and get the nutrients that I need from my food? Also, many of my clients have chronic pathogenic stuff going on, right? We know that there are some root cause relationships to, say, Epstein-Barr or reactivated Epstein-Barr. I also have worked with many clients who have H. pylori or C. difficile, or basically just generally dysbiosis in the gut as a result of leaky gut or vice versa. So it's important to be addressing your digestive health as a part of looking at what a healthful diet can do for you. When your gut's in balance and your thyroid is feeling fine, you can pretty much eat any of these foods except for gluten. You got to watch that video if you haven't already about why you need to give up gluten if you have Hashimoto's. Hint, it increases leaky gut. Okay. So I've talked about the goitrogenic foods today, and I've talked primarily about the cruciferous vegetables and listed some of my very favorites. I'm not giving up pears or peaches or spinach or strawberries or any of my favorite cruciferous detox supporting foods anytime soon, and you don't need to either. But work with someone who's board certified in holistic nutrition, speak to your doctor, and maybe get to some of these root cause issues of why you're still not feeling great when you're taking medication and you're trying to do everything right, but you know that something's just not working very well in your body. It could be that it has a digestive root cause, in addition to maybe some food intolerances beyond these iodine blocking foods. Thanks for watching my video today. Tune into some of my other videos that I have in the Hashimoto's playlist, and I'll be back soon with another video. Take care.